Hi, my name is Julianne Arney, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker working in private practice in the state of Florida. Welcome to the Cultivative Conversation podcast, where I engage listeners in conversation about mental health related topics and use questions designed to assist with exploring themes of gratitude, nostalgia, sharing, and learning, to normalize mental hygiene, and to invoke togetherness and intimacy through conversation. It's time. No, for real. Your eyes and ears aren't fooling you. The Cultivative Conversation podcast is back, and so am I. I've been gone for a year of minutes, and man, has it been a year. And I know that sounds familiar because I think I said the same thing in the last episode that I recorded and posted about a year ago. But it's true this time. I am back, and in my last episode, I shared goals that I set for the year 2024, and I thought it'd be nice to start 2025 off by revisiting those goals and reflecting on my progress towards them. So let's listen together. One of my goals this year is to join my goddaughter in reading 50 books before January 1st, 2025. I've always loved reading, and the way that being excited about a good story, the way that reading activates my imagination, and the joy I find in learning through reading others' experiences and perspectives. I want to experience more of that joy this year. I also notice that when I'm reading regularly, I spend less time looking at screens, and decreasing my screen time is another important goal of mine. I plan to accomplish this goal by reading during breaks at work, before bed when I'm able, and by checking in with my goddaughter periodically for support, for accountability, and to keep it exciting by sharing what we're reading and learning. So my first goal was to join my goddaughter in reading 50 books. Long story short, I did not accomplish this goal. I picked up my first book in February and finished it in April, and by the end of the year, I had read 6 books. I don't think I picked up another book after I finished the first one until August, which means that between August and December, I read 5 books. So even though I didn't accomplish my goal, I feel very proud because I haven't read that many books in a year since grad school. And grad school was a long time ago. The biggest challenge that made accomplishing my initial goal hard to reach was my time management. Putting my phone down was so hard for me, even though I really wanted to read the books that I chose. I also think that I set myself up for failure by setting a goal that just wasn't realistic, considering that I hadn't had a habit of reading that would support me reading 4 books a month, because that's how many books I would have to read a month to accomplish that goal. Not since I was in high school or maybe even early undergrad. I have set another reading goal for 2025, and I'll be sharing more about that with you later. My second goal was to decrease my screen time. Well, this is another goal that was not accomplished in the way that I planned, but hearing myself talk about my plans for using reading to reduce my screen time made me smile, because I did do that. I also did read during work breaks, before bed, and during my free time on the weekends. I didn't check in and share what I was reading, but using Goodreads helped with keeping me accountable with reminders, and the notifications about what and how my friends were reading were also very motivating. I'm still on a mission to reduce the scrolling, and I plan to approach that goal a little differently this year. Every year since starting this podcast, I've recorded a Going Out Glad episode where I share my practice of gratitude while reflecting on the year. I didn't record a Going Out Glad episode for 2024, but since we're here, I'll share a little bit of what I've reflected on. Just as a reminder, GLAD is an acronym where G stands for grateful, L stands for learned, A stands for accomplished, and D stands for delighted. At the close of 2024, I found myself grateful for time off from work. I worked a lot in 2024, especially in the first half, and even though I pulled back a bit in the second half, the work took a very visible toll on my mental and physical. I ended the year spending time with family, resting, and moving my body in ways that I really enjoy. I also found myself grateful for good health, grateful that my basic needs were consistently met, for opportunity for travel, and for growth in my relationships. In 2024, I learned and practiced a lot of taking care of my limits in ways that support actually getting my mental, physical, and emotional needs met, which has greatly contributed to the growth that I've experienced in my relationships with self and with others. I accomplished my first full year of employment with my current employer. I completed another year of private practice. I kept up with medical and dental appointments. I got a bike. I started running again, and I reconnected with reading. 2024 came with so many delights. I attended a work retreat during which I had a great time connecting with teammates and with coworkers. I traveled a lot and visited Chicago, Dallas, and the D, the M, and the V of the DMV. I enjoyed my morning bike rides. Crawfish season starts at the end of the year, and I have thoroughly been enjoying the taste of fresh crawfish from my favorite seafood spot. I was so delighted by my goddaughter choosing to spend her 21st birthday with me, and I had a great time, an amazing time, bringing in the new year with my family. My personal goals for this year are to read 12 books before January 1st, 2026, to produce more than I consume, including as related to content and the time I spend on screens outside of work, to move my body intentionally for at least 30 minutes a day, and to strengthen my connection to some family and friends. Professionally, I plan to explore opportunities for work that align with both my mission and my values. I love the work that I do, but outside of my private practice, the work environments I continue to find myself in make it challenging to truly be well. It's a mindfuck, the irony and contradiction that exists within these systems of community mental health. And I realized recently that I've been managing my career and work from a place of fear that is keeping me attached to these spaces. In 2025, I'm committed to pushing past the fear so that I can experience and enjoy the affirming and validating opportunities that I know are waiting for me on the other side. My intention for this podcast has and continues to be to encourage vulnerability through modeling and practice. I encourage you to join me in Cultivating Conversation by sharing your thoughts on our weekly Cultivative Conversation questions and topics using the links in the episode description. I wish you all a happy new year, and until next time, take care. Thank you for joining me for this Cultivative Conversation. If you have not already, please subscribe to the Cultivative Conversation podcast and share this episode with a friend.